Hey guys, welcome back to Inside the Lines. I'm calling this the happy hour edition now that we're at the 5 o'clock hour here. Okay, enjoy your happy hour with us as we go over some of these games. We have some NBA to get through. We'll get through the rest of the conference tournament winners that we like and have some value on, and we have some college baseball at the end to bring in the end of the night. So let's take a look back on Monday with Jake and Steven here. We're kind of crushing it. Couple profitable days in a row, a pretty profitable February into March, if I do say so myself. So my hat's off to you two. Steven, any remarking words for this?
Yeah, I mean, I have a table showing up with the February to now NBA performance, and 93 and 76 with a nearly plus 14 unit profit, and 5 straight days. I ran an actual simulation on the probability of having 16 profitable days versus just 7 on, and there's around 95% chance that this is not random. That there's a 5.7% chance of the overall units and less than 5% chance of 16 out of 7 out of 23 days.
Yeah, it is crazy that we are doing this on purpose here. All right, let's move on. Again, anyone if you have questions in the chat at all, please feel free to reach out with them. We're going to head into quick little rapid fire here with Jake. We're going to talk about the conference tournaments that we like. We have some value on. We'll start here with the Big Ten. I know Purdue being obviously the favorite here at even money, but probably not worth the price, right?
Yeah, just another one of these heavy favorites that we still have as sim favorites at 33.9, but just the value is not there at odds implied 50%. So minus 15% of value right there, as you can see on the right. Northwestern, slight value, but I said I would downgrade them just a bit because they've been banged up. You don't know who's playing. Ty Berry, I think, is out for the rest of the season. But then also Illinois, I kind of like Illinois at plus 300. We don't have value there, but only -4 value. I mean, minus 4.2% value compared to minus 15.1 with Purdue. Ohio State's an interesting team because they're 5-1 since Jake Diebler took over as the interim head coach. So they're getting that interim head coach boost. But Illinois played Purdue twice. They lost close games both times. So they're the one team who's really been neck and neck with Purdue all season. And they've been hot besides playing when they play Purdue.
Plus, we'd have value on Illinois if sports books weren't in the profit-making business.
Because
the 19% juice. If they weren't in it to make money, then we'd have value there.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, let's move on here. We can head over to the Big 12. I know, did we already talk about the Big 12?
Yeah,
we did.
I think we're on the AAC.
AAC, yeah. We got the FAU Owls here. We like as the 2 seed a lot more than South Florida. Correct me if I'm wrong. I did just talk about this a few hours ago, but we don't like South Florida as much because of their road splits. We like FAU on the road, more favorable team than South Florida puts up.
That's how the model works. Sorry, Jake.
Yeah. You can go.
That's how the model works when you're doing neutral court games. Tries not to, a lot of teams, especially good teams, tend to make a lot more home games and road games. So their overall stats can get skewed to that home court advantage. Whereas when we're doing a simulation on a neutral court, we try to equally weight their home and road splits.
Mm-hmm.
And something interesting with South Florida is they won the conference, but they're a projected 12 seed. They were just ranked 2. So all these advanced models are not really high on South Florida, but it's interesting. We have them just.
We have them exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's pretty good.
So it's not like we don't have value on them. And also in some of the bracket simulations I've been running, we have South Florida playing Wisconsin as a 5 seed. And we like South Florida as one of our best 12 seeds, depending on the matchup. But this is one where there's just not crazy odds on the favorite. Like FAU's at plus 185, which is a lot better than some of these favorites at minus 160 in these other conferences. So, and we loved FAU last year. We had them as the 9th best team going to the tournament. We had to downgrade them because everyone it sounded a little crazy. But they were one of the 4 best teams last year, and they have a ton of experience. So I don't mind to play on FAU. I don't love Charlotte because I think they've lost 3 of their last 5 games, and you kind of want to bet on a team who's coming in with some confidence. But earlier in the season, they were playing pretty good basketball.
Mm-hmm. Do we want to? Let's move. Yeah. Do we want to hit some of these smaller conferences quick?
Yeah, I think the bottom 2 conferences we don't have any value, so we're gonna hit some of these.
Do you want the SEC or pocket?
Yeah, I'll go to the SEC. So SEC, Alabama, and Kentucky. I keep saying that it's these conference tournaments are built for teams with really good offenses, not necessarily good defenses. Like Tennessee's more built for an NCAA tournament where you play 2 games and have a break, then 2 games, not when you have 3 or 4 games back to back to back. It does help that they have a 2-game bye. But Alabama and Kentucky also have buys because they're one of the top 4 seeds, and they have really good offenses. And we really like Kentucky. I think we had them as an Elite 8 team in the sim that I posted on Twitter earlier today, losing to Creighton and have Creighton barely advancing. But I think that game's pretty much close to 50-50. I think it's like 51-49. So we almost have Kentucky as a Final Four team. But then again, they don't fit that championship metrics because they don't have a Final Four defense.
But we're going on NBA talent in this case, right?
Yeah.
And then they just beat Auburn, Alabama, and Tennessee in their last, down the stretch.
Yeah, and Tennessee game was on the road, and I think the big thing is when they're the Tennessee game was on the road, but
and Bama was on the road, yeah,
and Bama was on the road. So the big thing for them is, Coach Calipari gets his rotations like finalized towards the end of the season. That's why they've made some of these runs, even with not his best teams.
It's just so frustrating because they have so much potential if they'll just play defense. Like, I want to see them do well in this tournament so badly, but it's hard to believe. All right, let's move on here. A few more to get through. We'll go to the Pac-12 here. Arizona, like Jake was saying, -160 favorites. Wouldn't call that value on a team with a 50% chance to win. Anything could really happen, like the Utah Utes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't bet against Arizona winning. Like, we have them at 50.1%. So more than half the simulations that we're running, Arizona's winning the conference tournament. But it's just not good value at -160. Utah is an interesting team because they started the season really hot. They had some really good wins. They're a really veteran team, but then they've struggled down the stretch. But they're a team where they can catch fire. So I don't mind betting on Utah here at plus 1,500.
Yeah, there's barely any value on these 2 teams that are highlighted. I just had to highlight someone. Yeah,
we needed some value, especially with the 122% from the odds makers here. Really, even here, it's usually from like 110 to 120. This is even more than some of these other conferences.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's all the majors.
Yeah, that's all the majors.
Well, let's move on to some non-major conferences that we want to mention any other ones, or you think we're good?
Yeah,
here?
I think the MEAC and the we have North Carolina Central at plus 220.
Sounds like a high school, North Carolina Central Eagles.
It does, yeah. I mean, they're the 2 seed. I don't mind this at all. I think this is because they have favorable shooting on the road, where Norfolk State's the number 1 seed, but they shoot 33.7% from deep as a team. So I know the Sims really like teams who could shoot both at home and especially on the road in these neutral site tournaments.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Maction, we like Ohio and Toledo. So just pretty much fading Akron here. So I think the move might be just put 1 unit on Ohio, 1 unit on Toledo, and hope that one of these 2 teams wins and some team knocks off Akron.
Yeah, makes sense.
Makes sense to me. I'm not arguing anything. Jake and the Maction are an auto lock tail for me.
Yeah, so we have them at 54.8% combined. So we take Ohio plus Toledo versus the field here.
Yep.
Our Toledo boy in the chat, Derek, we'll give it to you. We're all Toledo.
And then there's one more I want to talk about was Texas Southern in the SWAC. I want to talk about them because they're at plus 475 as a 3 seed, and we have value on them. They've won the conference tournament 7 of the last 9 times. So I'm pretty surprised that they're plus 475 given their history in this conference tournament.
Yeah. Sneaky plays. Someone's got to talk about the less Hollywood conferences. You can leave it to this show to find you the nooks and crannies.
Do you know anyone on Texas Southern?
I know that they beat Florida in Gainesville last year.
What?
Yeah, Gators were like 20-point favorites. So I mean, they've knocked off a couple of really good teams the last couple of years. They're a pretty decent SWAC team.
But you don't know everything because you couldn't name their leading scorer and leading rebounder and the assist to turnover ratio guy of the point guard.
Jake is literally worth nothing.
You're slipping.
I'm slipping.
All right.
trying to focus on running this live sim for my NC State's making a comeback right now. I need I have them the first half. So
yes, let's transition ourselves to NBA here while Jake can look at. We got 2 live college basketball games, I believe. So Jake's going to take a little look at the live betting situation for us. We should find plenty of live betting to come through the rest of the month. Let's start. All right, this game is. I've been trying to cook up some plays for this myself with our coworkers in the office here. Philly, New York. Last game was 73-79.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
The over-under is somewhere around, 208?
It's been bet down significantly, and the model has value on the over. I'm not going with that, so I'm not even going to mention it. I
totally am. Like, the regret, that's not even sustainable. Like,
well, both teams have come in well under 200 for the last 2 games, so it's not just that last matchup. I
don't know.
It's so Philly had 198 total the game before the New York game, and New York had a 172. So they're both, something's going on with the pace that they're playing.
Sounds like overs to me.
I will go with
great play too. You go first.
Yeah, I do like Kelly Oubre over 1.5 made threes, and you could get plus money on this. Model's predicting over 2. So last year this would have been a lock, 29-19, because he was getting 5 more field goal attempts and averaging 3 more minutes a game. The last 5 games, he's averaging 19 field goal attempts in nearly 33 minutes, which is, again, plus 5 more than he was last year for the season overall. Tyrese Maxey probably is back, but his average without Embiid playing is still considerably higher than overall. So we're projecting 16 attempted field goals. He's not shooting great in our sims, but that's still enough because he's he'll shoot around six or more 3-pointers. That there's still a good chance, even at 33% chance of making one, that he'll hit 2. Small forwards who average comparable made threes, they average considerably more against New York in the 7 games at home than they do at New York. But that's like not great for us, but again, can't go with everything.
Derek, the first half of this sentence checks out for what I want. Kelly Oubre was asked to be a playmaker with Maxey out. Maxey should be playing tonight. However, I do like Kelly Oubre. His assist line was 1.5 at plus money earlier today. I don't know if it still is. I just have to assume that everybody's due to have more assists in this game than last game. Like, there's no way you're going to have any less assists than last game. So I'm trying to figure out where those are going to fall. I think he had 3 in his last game, and it's not really a terribly unbelievable.
He's been getting a lot more use. 4, 4, 1, 2, 3 in his last 5. So, that's a good sign.
Honestly, if you add Tyrese Maxey to it, it probably should be scoring some points. I mean, asking 2 assists, I don't think is a crazy thing to ask of anyone. You can get 2 assists accidentally.
The one player I really wanted to go with was Mo Bamba, because he's listed as a starter now, and he started the last game over Paul Reed, but he didn't do anything. He put up 4 points in his 20 minutes and 1 rebound. So I'm going to keep my eye on him. I wouldn't be surprised if he has like a double-double, just to spite me.
We had a question on DiVincenzo here, his assist line at 2.5.
We're projecting over 3, so we really like the value there, even though we don't have value on his points and rebounds.
Way to pick the right.
Because OG Anunoby is supposed to be back, so maybe that helps him assist opportunities while hurting points.
Yeah, I was going to ask him being back. How does that really affect the Knicks? Player prop wise.
We're assuming that there'll be less shots for everybody. I mean, OG is not a massive number of field goal attempts, but 9 a game. Josh Hart's the one that I'm interested in because he's been playing so many minutes. He barely leaves the court. I was looking
at him too. Everyone was trying to talk me out of him. I'm like, Josh Hart double.
I mean, he's I've never seen a player this consistently over 40 minutes ever usually. So especially at a team with star point guard and quality backcourt, and who just traded for, Bogdanovich. And so that's kind of interesting that he's being relied on so heavily. It's almost like he's the power forward with Julius Randle out.
Scott was asking what Mo Bamba double is. It is plus 2,200 from what I'm getting DraftKings. So
he doesn't have many on his game log right now, but maybe double-double's a little aggressive.
All right, Jake letting us know we got NC State live line -4.5. We got slight value on that if anyone's into the live betting action right now in our 2 college basketball games. All right, let's move on here to Washington headed to Memphis. I'll be pretty honest, I don't know a ton about this game, so I'm just going to let you take the wheel here, Steven.
Yeah, I mean, Washington, the money steamed to Washington because they miraculously have won 2 in a row after, not winning for an entire month of February and then some. Problem is the model still actually favors slightly Memphis, but everyone on the team is listed on the injury report. So you can't really, this could change quite a bit depending on the status of players. So I wouldn't look at the main markets too much. I do like Denny Avdia over half a block, and this number has come down from -175 earlier in the morning to -132. I had some plus money bets, a lot of them this past few weeks, so I thought I'd give myself a chance with some what I hope were easy ones. But this one's coming down. So the model has over a 1 block. I am fading a road trend where he averages half as many blocks on the road, because he's recently been blocking more shots, over half. And Memphis is the 3rd most blocked team in the league, and they get blocked even more at home. Maybe they're more aggressive and they still get blocked. So I kind of like the fact that there's a lot of guys who get their shots blocked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're just saying you don't take. I mean, you even have a pretty solid amount of plus money plays today. I feel like relative to people.
Yeah, there's I think there used to be one slipped away. This Jalen Green one, which we'll get to, was plus money, but that's gone away. But there's still 2 more on there. Yeah. Another thing is forwards who average not that many blocks do average 3 times as many at Memphis.
I see a lot of questions in the chat about Kyle Kuzma here. Assist line 3.5.
We love
points. 24.5.
We have the same number, so we like the assists and probably the rebounds if it's at 9.5, or 8.5 juiced.
All right. All right. Kind of an ugly game.
Yeah.
Let's move on here. We'll head to Indiana, headed to OKC. Something tells me I want to look at Lou Dort. Haven't done it yet.
I'm not looking at any players right now. I hope that -6 is still available for Indiana. There's not, the model has almost over 2/3 chance of Oklahoma covering if -6, and obviously covering -6.5 because it's the same number. Indiana's road point differential is -2. A lot of the reasons are basically on the OKC side. So OKC's dominant at home, plus 12 point differential, 22 and 10 against the spread. Their 2-point differential is plus 9 percentage points. 3-point is plus 3 percentage points. The only statistical weakness OKC has right now is rebounding differential, but Indiana is actually worse. So we don't think Indiana can take advantage of OKC's weakness. And Jalen Williams, the only player on the Thunder, the better Jalen Williams, on the injury list. But Gordon Hayward, who they traded for, has actually been playing very well per minute recently. He's 3 for 5 of threes, and he's getting a lot of assists. 12 assists in 4 games in less than 18 minutes a game. So he's passing the ball well and hitting the open shot.
Who is this?
Gordon Hayward, former star, but now is not.
Yeah, can't say that rings a bell for my.
He's the oldest 33-year-old there is, or 34-year-old, whatever he is. But
yeah,
the older he gets, his wife stays the same age. I think he's very young.
If you ever see videos, he has like 4 daughters, and all he wants is a son. And every time they have a gender reveal, the face of disappointment. So great.
That's funny. How do we feel about? Sorry, we'll go back to that game real quick. Right. About SGA, his points and assists line is 38.5.
We have over 40, so we like that. It's a pretty high profile matchup. Even though we love OKC against the spread, I could see this being fairly close until the end.
It's just hard to decide which OKC player is going to take. I just have a hard time figuring out any type of consistency with him.
Giddey was always my go-to person because he has great home splits, but the market's caught up to his higher increased production. He's going back to numbers that he had last season. So his line, which I want to say 2 weeks ago, was probably 19.5, 18.5.
Yeah. What about Chet over 2.5 assists?
We're projecting 2.8, but he's burned us, burned me. He didn't have any turnovers. The day I had over 1.5 turnovers, didn't hit his second 3. The day that you had over 1.5 threes. So he's persona non grata. I like him though, so I don't want to put him on an S list. But yeah,
I know. I want to root for him so badly.
He's in gambling purgatory, not in hell.
Okay, well, we'll go with that. All right, we can move on now to Houston going to San Antonio. Jalen Green, I know you got some plus money on him earlier today. Might not still be there.
Yeah, so I'm going back to my strategy, which is now 1-1, I believe, of recently going over 2.5 turnovers because a player can play poorly, turn the ball over multiple times, but they can also play well, have the ball in their hands a lot, and have 2 and 3 turnovers while putting in 24 points and 7 rebounds and 4 assists. So we have overvalue on his points, rebounds, and assists. We expect him to play well. I'm fading a season trend because last season Şengün hadn't emerged yet as what he is now, which is a poor man's Jokic. So last year when Şengün, before he popped to the 5 assist guy and 20-point player that he is now, Green had averaged over 2 more field goal attempts, 0.4 more assists, 0.4 more turnovers, 2.6 per game. So I think that with Şengün injured, Jalen Green will go back to that player. And 2.5 is a fair line. And when I first pounced on this, it was plus money. So you probably want to act now before you lose it.
What about our guy Dylan Brooks, who has decided to suit back up again?
We have no value either way. He hit for me the other day, but he made me nervous. No, because he started the game. I think it was the Phoenix game where he was 3 for 11 from 3. No, it was this game. It was the next game, and he took 10 threes, but I think he started 1 for 7 from 3. So that made me very, very nervous.
Yeah, I do remember that now. Yeah. What about Van Fleet here over 8.5 assists?
Probably my logic with Şengün out probably still applies, but the model is not projecting over 7. We're only projecting 7.5 assists. I guess we're fading his recent trend of 9 plus his last 5 games.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, let's move on here. Next game, I don't think Minnesota at LA. I don't think we personally have, Boston at Utah. My bad.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Yeah, Boston, Utah, same thing. I think Porzingis, Drew Holiday, Al Horford are all still very much in the air. They missed last game. Porzingis and Drew missed yesterday. So we don't know if they all play that we do like the Celtics against the spread. I'm going to go with Colin Sexton, which I hope is easy money at minus 180. Model has 0.94 steals. His average is way up the last month. So 1.7 his last 6 games, 1.4 to the last 11, which is the last 31 days. But most importantly, the over is 9-4 this season when he plays over 30 minutes. He's had 4 straight games with over 30 minutes. So with Larry Markkinen out, they need his offense. Markkinen, obviously not the same position, but they just need a scorer on the court. So guys like Jordan Clarkson are getting more minutes and shots, and as well as Colin Sexton.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, this is super sidetracked. I'm trying to find Kelly Oubre assist on DraftKings, and I'm not seeing it. We had someone take in Sexton over 20.5 points. Pretty similar.
Yeah, we have 21.5 points. Like it.
All right. Okay, yeah, let's move on here. We don't have to really touch the Clippers-Minnesota game. If there's questions on it, we can certainly answer them. But let's head over to Milwaukee, going to Sacramento here, where we do like a play. Yeah,
all the stars for Minnesota Clippers are game time decisions, which is why I'm concerned. This game, we tend to fade Sacramento on their home court, and we back them on the road, and so we do have Milwaukee slightly, but nothing to bank on. So the pick that I liked in this one was so Sabonis. I touted earlier today. I was very proud of my pretty chart. But a lot of these reds are tied to Sabonis, specifically over half an anything. I've tried half a block, half a steal, half a made 3, all in Kings home games, I believe, and he's never hit one. So this has got to break, right? It's like he's a guy who's hitting 400 is not going to go over 4. So
that'd be statistically impressive.
So in this case, he's on a little block binge. 2-1 his last 2 games against height, right? Houston's big, San Antonio, although I guess Wemby was probably out that game, may have been out. He has higher recent average, so his last month is up to 0.8. Last 7 is It's 0.9, even though the unders hit more than the over. But biggest thing is he owes me. He owes me
Yeah.
on the. He can't. I like Sabonis. I'm a big fan. I was a fan of his father. You know, even when his father whooped our butt in the '88 Olympics, I wasn't mad at him. So he owes me.
Yeah, let's make it personal. Why not? All right, we'll hit a recap screen for NBA after this. We'll send Steven to the chat to answer any more NBA questions. Me and Jake are going to hit a little college baseball here. I'm going to also think about a little parlay that I'm cooking up in the NBA tonight, whatever starts to speak to me. All right, let's rapid fire through these college baseball plays. We'll start with an under here with Nebraska-Wichita.
Yeah, another game where it's just Tuesday between two teams that are under teams, and the under is 57 and 24 on Tuesdays. So our Sims have this at 11.4. So I'm just continuing with the under trend on Tuesdays between two teams that are more defensively focused than offensively focused. So I like the under here.
All right. Start to hit a few money lines here. We'll go to Mercer first.
Yeah, Mercer. This is the midweek home underdogs. Mercer versus Georgia Tech.
Love to see it.
Yeah, so they're at plus 130. Mercer probably should have taken 2 of 3 against Oklahoma State over the weekend, but they lost that series. But I think the 2 losses were very close losses. But just plus 130, I think we have this close to a pick 'em in the simulations just because we like these midweek home underdogs.
Mm-hmm. All right, looks like we have another one here. Is Kennesaw a home underdog-ish?
They're an away underdog here. So it's at Georgia Southern, and it's so it's not that far of a trek between Kennesaw and Georgia Southern, which is in Statesboro, Georgia. But I like I think Kennesaw's the better team. They just won a series against some SEC team, I'm pretty sure it was. But Kennesaw's been playing really good baseball. Sorry, I'm watching basketball. I'm all confused. But they've been playing good baseball
right now.
Yes.
Speaking of, how is the live betting going? What are we at?
So we think that the game is going to slow down. We have value on the live under at 175.5. It's gone from 175.5 to 171.5. So if you get it when it gets to the high point, I would hop on the under. You're just hoping at that point that there's no overtime.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. All right, let's kick it back to baseball here with Kansas minus 130 money line.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite plays. Kansas going against Missouri. Missouri's just been really bad. I think they lost a series to IPFW. So just betting on a team at home that I think is the better team against a struggling Missouri team.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Don't have to convince me. All right, let's move on.
Kansas just won a series against TCU, so that's big for them. TCU is the number 5 team in the country.
Ooh, okay. I play with the big dogs. I like to see it. Let's go to Murray State, Kentucky, taking another under here on a Tuesday.
Yeah, I just think this line's a little too overinflated. It's actually under 15.5 on Hard Rock. So if you are in one of the 7 states with Hard Rock, get the under there and save yourself half a run. But this is a TK, and I just think it's pretty good value. Kentucky's a pretty heavy under team. They played Western Kentucky in their midweek game last week, and it was 4-0. So I'm just riding with this 57-24 under trend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wait, that's pretty strong. Did you say 57-24?
Tuesday unders are 57 and 24.
All right. Like to see it. One more money line for the team here. We're going with Arizona State money line minus 190, but we're feeling confident enough for the minus 190.
Yeah, I don't mind playing minus 2.5 on Arizona State because I think if they win this game, they're going to win it big just because they're playing against a Mountain West team. And so it's just going to be a ton of runs between them. Every time Pac-12 plays Mountain West, it's usually like a 12-8 game. So I think that if they win this game, there's probably value on the run line here. But I think there's value at minus 190 itself too. They lost a tough series against Oregon this past weekend, but all 3 games were really close. They could have easily taken 2 of 3 against Oregon, who's a pretty good team.
Mm-hmm. If you had to parlay this money line with any other money line on the slate, any suggestions you would have?
Yeah, so I actually parlayed this with Ole Miss, but the Ole Miss game already started at 5. But I don't mind parlaying this with Oregon, just a little Pac-12 money line parlay, probably I think Morgan's at like minus 350. So it'd probably be minus 115 if you parlayed those two together. So
Right.
closer to even odds.
Okay. I'm cooking up a little two-leg parlay here on the side here, which I can't seem to do. Can you do that using Odds Jam or no? Would it give you any kind of? I'm going to go on BetMGM, but it's blocked in the office. So
yeah, I'll plug it in on Hard Rock right now, and I'll tell you what.
Well, I need Kelly Oubre over 1.5 assists at plus 130, which is on BetMGM.
So you want to parlay between Kelly Oubre and Arizona State?
Sure, let's add that in. That was not on the agenda, but yes, let's do that. Arizona State, Kelly Oubre, and I think Jalen Brunson goes over 2.5 threes tonight. He was 1 for 9 last night. I just can't imagine that's the situation again.
So I'll make that. Sounds like a pretty surefire parlay right there.
Right. Let me make sure that's where the line still is. Yeah, 2.5 at plus 105.
So the Hard Rock's interesting because you can't do same game parlay pluses, which is when you have the same game parlay and you parlay it with something else. But if you're in states with like DraftKings and FanDuel, they have that. That's one of the problems with the Hard Rock monopoly here in Florida.
Right. Well, you guys can take my word for it. Kelly Oubre over 1.5 assists, Jalen Brunson over 2.5 threes, both plus money plays. Thank you. And Arizona money line minus 190. And while I'm at it, question the chat about Josh Giddey over 11 points. I believe we have him projected for 12.3. I don't know why that's in my head. Somebody can fact check me on that.
I will fact check right now.
Okay.
Let's see.
And Shy, we do have some value on, right? We have value on his over points and assists. So I'm assuming we have some value on his points. Okay, 12.5. Not bad. That's what they call me, photographic memory. That's why they pay me the big bucks. All right.
I don't know. I don't think that is 12.3. It's 12.5. So
you know what?
I call it semi-photographic there.
More valuable. Yeah, semi-photographic. That is it. All right. Here's the recap for today. Tomorrow, Jake, we should have a ton of live betting opportunities, shouldn't we?
Yeah, as the conference tournaments go on, there's a ton more games that tip up early. So looking at tomorrow's slate, there are a ton of games that will be going on at 3 and 4 p.m. So yeah, we'll have a ton of live betting opportunities.
Everyone strap in. March, it's time to be degenerates, okay? Everyone's live betting, even me. All right, that is all we have time for today. Got through a lot. Any questions, as always, please feel free to reach out to us on Twitter. Tell your friends about the 5 p.m. show. Again, love to answer your guys' questions and talk about whatever it is you guys want to talk about. So good luck with your bets tonight, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.